We are back with a video again. This time, I have to record here. Okay. We are back. We're talking about religion this video. I'll start with my thoughts on religion and what I personally believe in, why I believe it, etc. And then I'll go into more. I can't click my thumb. Before I get into that, I jam my thumb so bad playing basketball. Like I can't click down my controller. It's kind of bad. But so first my thoughts. So personally, at this exact moment in time, 228, 26, I believe, I would consider myself as agnostic. And agnostic believes you don't believe in any of the main monotheistic religion gods, like you believe in Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, any of that. You don't believe in any of that, but you don't fully out the existence of there being a higher power. You just don't believe in any of the main monotheistic religions. And if I were to lean towards any religion, it would be Christianity, because, that's just what I've grown up in. Not from my parents, but my peers. I live in a very red state where it's very, very Christian. I would say almost 90%, probably more than 90% would self-identify as Christian, because 65% of the U.S., I believe, I don't know if I have that exactly right, but I believe 65% of the United States self-identifies themselves as Christian. So, just the United States, and I bet the state I live in, Texas, is probably even higher than that. So, I've always just been around Christian, religious my entire life. So, there was one time where I would truly say I was a Christian, and I was believing the ideology, I was going to church, blah, blah, blah. I was doing the whole shebang. And really what led me out of it is my family is very unreligious. Very, 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 very unreligious. My family is not the least religious people, literally ever. So that drove me away from the faith, because I thought church was a very important thing. To me personally, church was very important, because I would consider myself a Presbyterian, and to them, church is very important. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to just take a text really quick. I had to text someone really quick. I was recording this video instead of playing with them, so whatever. I don't care. I wanted to make a video, so that's what I'm doing. So, every religion, I've never really been around a Muslim or a Buddhist, but I bet you if I grew up in those cultures, I definitely would be. Without a doubt, I would be, because that's just what you grow up in. And I think a main driver away, as I was talking about, was one, my family, but two, the realization there's roughly 14,000 different individual religions. It's there's different beliefs in Christianity, blah, blah, blah. They're in, people think, I believe the number's about 14,000. We'll just use 14,000. So if you believe in Christianity, you are atheist to 13,999 other religions, but there's one that you get. Doesn't that seem a little crazy? And the fact that the majority of people will be wrong in their beliefs. Their ideologies will be wrong about the afterlife. A majority of people. That, to me, is insane. And that one is insane. Another realization I had was eternity is a long, 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 long time. I don't think people realize how long an eternity is. Humans, Homo sapiens, I believe I talked about this in the last video, about 40,000, 400,000 years since they found the first gold. It's one of those two. That's not a long time. I believe I said this. That in the first day of Earth is pretty much the same percentages as the eternity of the universe. That's how long an eternity is. The sun will blow up, which will cause the Earth to be non-existent in a couple billion years, I believe. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't know. I don't know the number. I don't know the science behind it. And then once that happens, that's a fraction of a percent of eternity. So once that happens, then you're still waiting for eternity. So that is a long time. For example, to send someone like a 5-year-old girl with leukemia, she dies. She lived in an African country where the only religion she ever knew was like Buddhism, or I don't know what a main religion is down there in Africa. She doesn't even need to be in Africa. She can be literally wherever. She didn't even know about religions existed or a god, because she died at 3 years old with leukemia. She's gonna go to the same place, who did nothing wrong. She's never done any bad to the world. Maybe the worst bad thing she did was lie to her parents about peeing the bed. It's probably the worst thing she's ever done in her life. But she's gonna go to the same place and burn for eternity. Because, well, she didn't believe in a person she'd never met. And I guess you could say that's the point of missionaries in religion. Like, that's why they do missionaries and send people out there. But also, it's just so hard to justify an all-loving God is willing to send someone who never did anything morally unjust, according to the Bible, outside of not believing in Christ. And she's going to go to the same place Hitler is for killing millions or hundreds of thousands. Well, we're not getting into this topic, but it's just insane to me that an all-loving God would be able to do that. Because to me, that doesn't sound all-loving. That sounds very immoral. So that, to me, didn't make sense. Another one is, it's really that. That's a main one for me, is how is an all-loving God going to send a person who has never done anything morally unjust in their life to hell, to burn for eternity? Eternity! Not a finite amount of years. Eternity. Infinite. Forever. All because they didn't believe in something they didn't even know existed. Oh my, I'm dead. All because they didn't believe in something they never knew was real. How is that their fault? It isn't. So to me, that is just, I don't understand how you can be, all-loving and that to be possible. Secondly, the only evidence is, is a handwritten book that's been translated so many times from Hebrew, I believe was the original language. I'm not sure, but it's been translated so many times. How do we know it's fully accurate? And like, for example, I'm tired. Oh my! I think I'm playing with headphones. It's been so long, and the big argument is there's been thousands of eyewitnesses. Okay, well, how are we going to test the eyewitness testimonies when it's a book? A book about a religious figure that we scientifically can't prove Jesus was a real person. Can we prove he came back from the dead? No. I don't even know if we could prove that he was crucified. We might be able to do that. I'm not sure about that. And then, what else? There's a lot, and I'm just trying to think of it off the top of my head. I'm thought of anything to write down and prepare for this, which I probably should prepare, but whatever. I'll just freeball it. Another thing, Noah's Ark. How in the world does that make any sense? They got every animal on a boat, and then God flooded the world because he was mad at it? Well, how can he be mad at it when it's his creation? Every human was made in his creation, in his image and his likeness. So, what do you mean he just flooded the world and got rid of everything and everyone? I don't think people realize how big of a boat you'd have to make to fit every animal, 2 of them, so they can reproduce and repopulate. That just makes genuinely no logical sense. And I think very logically. Like, my dream job when I'm older is to be some sort of engineer. Either maybe nuclear, aerospace. At the moment, if I had to go into a workforce right now, I'd go into civil engineering. Because, well, the job security is great, and I would have almost a guaranteed job with my father. which, I mean, that's always great. Good job security, especially in this job market, is phenomenal. But it's just, that's so illogical to just think. Like, it literally makes no logical sense that, oh, he got every animal, none of them fought, and he got them all on a boat that he built. Like, I guess, bro. I guess, bro. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe someone could explain it in a way that it makes sense, but that just makes absolutely no sense to me. And then, let me think. There was another one I was thinking of. I can't think of it. It's just, I think a really big thing is how much of a contradiction it is to be all-loving, all-powerful, and all-knowing. Because you can't be all-knowing, all-loving, and all-powerful. You can be all-knowing and you can be all-knowing and all-powerful, but you can't be all-loving. And you can be all-loving, but you wouldn't be all-knowing and all-powerful. Because if you're all-knowing and all-powerful, then you wouldn't have let that 3-year-old guy, or 3-year-old girl, guy or girl, it doesn't matter, die of leukemia, because you're all-loving and death is bad. So that doesn't make sense. And then you just can't let these things happen. And then, also, I literally just had the thought in my brain. I seen this in a video a couple, maybe a week ago, but free will. Well, you can't have free will if your fate has already been decided because God knows it. That means you didn't have free will to make that decision. The decision has already been made because it's known. If the decision is already known, then it's been made. Okay, I'll put this into terms. Say you play baseball, and you know in your previous game you went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Well, then you didn't have the free will to go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts because you already knew it was going to happen. Or, say you're in a race. You're in track and field, you're in the 100-meter dash. You know for a fact that your friend is going to get 5th place, and they're going to run a 10.87. They're going to run a 10.87, and they're going to get 5th place. You know that. You know that, and it happens. And it's not like you made a guess. You knew every single last detail. Everything. Well, they didn't have that. They didn't have free will in that scenario because they were already predestined. Their fate was already decided in that scenario. So they didn't have the free will behind that. So you can't have free will if something knows everything. If there's a something that knows everything, that means you didn't have free will to make that decision. You were predestined. Your fate has already been decided. Before anything happened, your fate was already decided. So to me, how's that any... Okay, and big thing about the Bible is you have free will. Well, you can't have free will with God knowing that you're going to do this. And I think another thing is, like, say you kill someone. You kill someone out of pure hatred. And then you live, like, say Hitler. Or Genghis Khan. Just a terrible, terrible person. And in the last 5 seconds before they die, they are truly genuine in their heart. And they mean every last second. And they repent to God. Well, he's going to get to go to heaven. But my dad, who has done nothing immoral, is going to go to hell and burn for millions and millions, billions, and literally infinite amount of years in hell. Just because he didn't believe him. Did nothing... Oh, the emeralds. Did nothing wrong morally. Nothing. But he's going to go burn. But Genghis Khan, who killed millions... He literally, like, stopped global warming, I'm pretty sure, with how many people he killed. Or, unless that was someone else or a different scenario. I don't know if that's true, but roughly. But he gets to go to heaven. Because the last 5 seconds, he truly felt it in his heart. His apology. How does that make sense? It doesn't. At least for me. It makes none. And I hope someone can explain it. Because I believe believing in a specific ideology really helps you. Because if you are a Christian and you don't know what to choose in life, you can go ask God and wait for them. Or you can read it scripture. What would John do? What would St. Augustine do? What would Martin Luther King do? So you can really look back on that, but someone who's non-religious, they just think logically, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Thinking logically is great, but to an extent. Like, it can be a great thing, but it can also be a horrible thing. In same way, and same thing around. Same thing the other way. I just had the, I had the thought in my head, and I was trying to slow down wait, I actually can't think of it. Every time I have the thought, I forget what the thought is. Yo, this is bad. There's one more reason. There's one more main reason on why I just don't believe. And I keep forgetting it. This is getting bad. I really want to remember. I'm really curious now. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of... so I'll just talk about what I'm doing in the game really quick. Building a house. I saw a comment by... I mean, you already know who the comment is. I hope he's still watching this deep into the video. Frame by Slide, I believe Frame by Slide. He commented on the last video talking about how I got his name wrong. Oh, now I really need to get it right. Okay, well, I hope I did. But, he talked about I should be building a house, so I can just bunker down. And so I'm gonna build a house. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a really bad builder. So, this series, where I just talk about myself, I will learn to build. Because I, low-key, just have no clue at all how to build. So, yeah. I don't want to end it here because I have one more thought that I just can't quite think of. I don't know. Everyone around me believes in a religion. My friends, not my family. My family does not. But, I don't know. I feel like believing in a religion just makes life, I don't know if easier is the right word, but makes it, I don't know if simpler is the right word either. It just makes your decisions in life easier to fall back on, because you can be like, what would God do? What would Jesus do? The WWJD bracelets. WWJD. What would Jesus do? And I think that's a very easy thing to... Oh, okay, this is what I was thinking, but this is another one. Let's think. What is the main thing in Christianity? Roman Catholicism. That started a lot of it. That was like pre-Martin Luther King writing why everything wrong with the church. Like, I believe 72 reasons, or it was something like that. Everything wrong with the church. So pre-Protestant, Protestantism, all of that. Who started Christianity? It was the Romans. And you might ask, okay, well, why is that important? Let's think back to them. Why would the Romans need a religion? Well, because they had so many people and they were so out of control that how do you control someone? How do you control a group of people? Well, you tell them if they don't do as you want them to do, they're gonna go burn in hell for the rest of their life. Or not for the rest of their life, for the rest of ever. Forever. That's a pretty dang good way to control a big group of people, is by scaring them into this belief that, I need to follow this, otherwise, oh no, my life's gonna be over. Or once my life's over, then what am I gonna do? That's a great way to control people. What did the Catholics need to do at the time? They needed control. That's what they needed. They needed control desperately. And they clearly succeeded in getting their control. So it's just like let's think back to the major religions. They all start where a large group of people are in their culture. Okay, well, let's think why this makes sense. Large group of people, they need an ideology to follow, So they come up with it. They think, well, we gotta control these people. What better way to do it than to just say, hey, you don't believe this? Rest of your life? Or rest of forever? Not gonna be too good for you, is it? So they just control the masses by doing that. Clearly it worked with how well Christianity is done. And I know there are some arguments for Christianity, and there are some quality evidence, obviously, but you can't. I think the biggest issue for Christians as a whole is when they prove the existence of God by using the Bible. Well, that makes no sense, because if I don't believe in something, why am I going to be like, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because, say someone brings up a quote from the Bible. Well, I don't believe in the Bible, so why would that resonate with me? Well, it doesn't. How are you gonna? I'm putting this in really bad terms. You can't prove something from something they don't believe in. Like, I don't believe in the Bible, so how are you gonna prove the Bible by doing that? You know what I'm saying? I'm putting this into really, really, really bad terms. And I don't really know how to put it into better ones. You can't prove the existence of something I don't believe in by saying, oh yeah, this is why I believe it, because this thing that you don't believe in tells me it's true. If that makes any sense. It's really hard to put my thoughts into words right now. I'm really tired. But, there's really one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I can't think of it. It's really making me mad. Well, I'll probably make another video about this in the future, because this is very highly important topic. Because, well, it's a very important topic. It is, for example, Christianity funded a ton of, our schools, our hospitals. A lot of it comes through religion. And in my opinion, that's a great thing. I think religion as a whole is a great thing. I think the belief behind religion has great moral backing. And I think it makes people morally a better person. And, I did not mean to make 60 of these. Okay. I think, as a whole, religion is a good thing. And I think the main reason people think it's a bad thing is because when they see it taken to an extreme level, they just think about how bad it is. But I argue anything taken to an extreme level is horrible. Politics at a minor way is a good thing. Politics just talking about it is a good thing. But politics taken to the extreme level, like extreme liberalism, extreme authoritarian, that's bad. That's really bad. And I think anyone in a conscious mindset, not a conscious mindset, it's like me trying to talk down on people like I'm better or I know more than them, because I don't. I don't know more. I don't know any better. It's me. It sounds like I'm trying to talk from a moral high ground, like I'm any better than anybody. I'm not. It's just, I think anything taken to extremists is bad. And I think people like to cherry pick the extremists to prove why their side is right. So, for example, in politics, a leftist will talk about how every rightist wants everyone to own a gun, and that is the reason why school shootings happen, is because it's because all the right wing people want it, because that's all they want. But then a leftist will be like, oh yeah, a leftist will say that about a rightist, and then a rightist will say about a leftist, oh, they're making our people gay, they're putting things in our bodies with the vaccines, which I think is the stupidest thing ever. Because I think one of the greatest things Trump has ever done was Project Zero, I believe, was the COVID vaccine. But it's never going to get talked about because hard-right MAGA fans don't care about vaccines because they think it's by the government and they're implementing whatever. It's a rant for another time. But at the end of the day, religion as a whole helps people. Religion has funded or not fun. Religion has created some of the greatest civilizations because of it. I believe religion is one of the greatest things our conscious mind has ever come up with. Specifically morally, do I agree with any of the monotheistic religions? No. Could that change? Yes. Does that change from thought to thought? Yes, it does. And I consider myself agnostic, and I've just kind of stated all the reasons why I don't believe in religion, specifically Christianity, due to where I've grown up, pretty much, and that's it. Thank you guys, and